Now, I'm sure you're not surprised to hear that Apple is still the world's most valuable brand, and it's getting stronger, according to an annual survey of brand values. Arch rival Samsung appears to be gaining ground as well, as do some brands from emerging markets, reflecting the rising spending power of the so-called BRIC economies. Well, Nick Cooper is Managing Director of Millward brand Optimor, who compile the brand rankings each year. Nice to see you, Nick. So just tell us how you measure a brand.
Certainly. We've been doing these rankings for 7 years, and the way we do it is essentially in two halves. The first part is we do a financial valuation, which is an approach that will be familiar to accountants and management consultants and investment bankers. So that creates a value for the whole company. But our magic ingredient is something called our BrandZ research, which is a proprietary approach which looks at the proportion of business value that is driven by brand. And from that, we create a dollar value for the brand.
Is it fair to say that for most companies, its brand is one of the most important elements?
Well, our research suggests that if you look at, say, the S&P 500 is the biggest stock indicator in the world, approximately 30% or over 30% of their value comes from brand. And what we find increasingly is that value is actually built from intangibles, not tangible assets. So it's not land building and machinery, it's ideas and it's people and it's software and it's brand, and brand is the biggest intangible.
And it's quite a difficult thing to manage, I assume, what happens to your brand, because especially in the social media environment, a brand can be, you know, pulled apart very quickly on these sort of chat forums and things. That's
right. Well, what we've seen is in these rankings this year, I mean, technology brands are even more predominant than ever. Nearly a third of the ranking comes from all sorts of technology brands. And what we see is the pace of change there is incredibly rapid. But brand is even more important, because these sorts of companies, such as Google and Facebook and so on, are actually, they don't really have a lot of tangible assets. It is about intellectual property, and again, brand is one of the leading things.
And very briefly, for the first time, an African company in the top 100.
Yes, it's incredibly exciting. We see a total of 20 brands altogether from the emerging markets in the top 100. This is the first time. It's a telecoms company called MTN, which is based in South Africa, and it really is a symptom of the fact that Africa has moved on tremendously in the last few years and is now a very exciting investment opportunity.
All right. Well, Nick Cooper, thank you very much indeed for talking us through the top 100 brands. Very interesting.